Kevin, in the spirit of just playing garbage, I handed the reins of this channel over to you and let you pick the movie we talk about.
Ha ha! Odie, I want to take you back to 1986, a year that gave us such phenomenal films as Blue Velvet, Stand By Me, Aliens, Platoon, Big Trouble in Little China, and so many more. And now I want you to forget about all of them so we can go and enjoy Stephen King's only ever directorial attempt, Maximum Overdrive. Now, Odie, why don't you go ahead and explain the plot of this movie?
Oh, I have to do that? I can't make you do it?
No.
Fuck. Okay, well, luckily, the movie tells you what's up with a giant block of text, which I will read for you now. On June 19th, 1987, at 9:47 a.m., the Earth passed into the extraordinarily diffused tail of Rhea-M, a rogue comet. According to the astronomical calculations, the planet would remain in the tail of the comet for the next 8 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds. And then we just follow a bunch of morons at a truck stop while they make stupid decisions after stupid decisions for about 90 minutes.
Odie, we don't just follow them. We learn about their hopes, their dreams, their parole sentences and Bible-thumping businesses, and even their Little League aspirations and how they're all about to get steamrolled by the machinations of modern man. Odie, evil laugh with me. It feels great. Come on.
Kevin, I would love to start with my list of all the dumb choices everyone makes in this movie. First off, the movie opens with a drawbridge scene, and the drawbridge operators just stand there and wonder how this happened instead of doing anything to fix the problem at hand.
You know, it's funny. It does seem like one of them is a complete nincompoop. His character actor definitely plays into the fact that he's completely aloof while the other one is yelling, "Don't you understand we have a situation here?"
Next, one of the guys just wanders around a gas station even after he finds a dead guy out front, and then when a truck almost kills him, he just stands there and stares at it for a little bit.
Do you think he wanted to be a detective and just never got to be one as an adult, and this was his chance?
Absolutely. Next, a guy who gets blinded by Diesel decides to leave and look for his son, and he gets splattered because he couldn't see the truck 10 feet away.
Yeah, two things about that. One, could he also not hear it? Like, did he go deaf from the Diesel as well? Two, I didn't realize that was Diesel, so I'm gonna go think about that for a minute.
Well, while you think about that, there's another guy who runs in a straight line from a reversing semi, which I also think is the origin to the Prometheus school of running away from things.
You know, it's surprising to me how many people have never learned the word serpentine, and you would think that they would at least watch a little more Jeopardy or play some more Scrabble.
Towards the end, the waitress runs out to yell at the trucks that they made them, moments after a truck with no thumbs shoots the entire truck stop up and kills a bunch of people in front of her.
Oh yeah, that's Wanda. She just seems detached from reality from the get-go. I mean, she gets cut up by, a meat slicer in the beginning, and then she's just a hot mess all the way up to the point where she gets shot down.
And then, finally, in the last, 7 minutes of the movie, one of the guys decides to stop and steal an oversized giant diamond ring instead of running away from the truck that is right behind him.
I genuinely think Stephen King was like, we need one more kill in this film.
Okay, Kevin, let me ask you this. How would you feel if you went up to an ATM to get money out and it just called you an asshole?
That depends, Odie. Am I Stephen King all hopped up on coke in the 80s?
Well, that was Stephen King at the ATM in a cameo appearance, so yes?
Well, then I'm into it.
Okay, I'm going to say something potentially controversial, but the best looking thing in this movie are the eggs that Emilio Estevez makes, but even those are ruined when the waitress Wanda comes along and just starts messing them up.
You just can't hire good help those days.
Oh, another thing that I find stupid, but also kind of funny, is the soda machine from hell that I think kills some kids.
This Little League team has met its match, Odie, and it's the post-match drink-up. You'd think with all the hand-eye coordination that they'd been practicing, one of them would have at least picked up a bat or a mitt, but I bet their coach was pretty disappointed right before he got impaled in the face with a can of Pepsi.
Well, I mean, the kids were playing baseball in jeans like a bunch of nerds, and also one of them went up to the coach to see if he was still alive even though he was bleeding out of his skull, and then one randomly flips his bike for no reason, so I don't feel bad.
My brother in Jesus Christ Palomino, which is an actual quote from this film. That flip actually makes me feel less bad. There was nothing in the way. Like, what was happening there? The failed birth of flat ground BMX?
It never took off. Because they jump off ramps in BMX. You get it? That's a good joke. Anyways.
That's how I'm going to laugh for the rest of this. I'm just doing evil laughs now.
Do you also think, Kevin, that maybe this movie inspired a ton of people to be truck drivers?
You know, driving a truck is a thankless job where people are less focused on awarding the job when it's done correctly and more focused on when you slow traffic down, not to mention the long hours away from home, unpredictable schedules, rigorous bureaucracy, and sometimes mandatory overtime enforced by some yuppie desk jockey back at a corporate headquarters because some big shot CEO says that your 18-wheeler of used VCRs needs to be hauled to Missouri for no reason. So now, even though you just got done with a month's worth of 80 hours per week, you gotta strap your boots back on and get back on the road so all the fucking suits that worship the modern deity, the economy, can get together at their next corporate bonus circle jerkin'.
Kevin has strong opinions about being a truck driver because he's really upset that in the first Fast and the Furious, they target simple truck drivers and steal their VCRs.
We're the working man, Odie. It's the plight of the working class. Why do they keep abusing us?
Here's a question for you. How come only certain machines came to life? Because the Bible salesman's car and the newlywed's car don't turn evil, and at the end, none of the boats are alive. So what's up with that?
Well, Stephen King famously said that he wanted to make a moron movie with this film, and I feel like any plausible answer to any of these questions points to the fact that he succeeded.
Do you think that somewhere out there in this movie, a toaster hopped into the bathtub with somebody?
I like to think it probably shimmied its way on over, you know, like Lou Bega style. A little bit of toaster in my life, a little bit of zap zap by your side, a little bit of
It's a whole new meaning to Brave Little Toaster. Another thing that bothered me was how every single person that used the rocket launcher used it wrong. That is an M72 law, and it is fired from your shoulder, Kevin, not like some goddamn Rambo wannabe who says Bubba every other word.
See, the thing you're missing here, Odie, is that in the beginning, in very fine print, the intro says, oh, and also the laws of physics have been altered completely to ignore the concept of recoil. Thank you so very much. Love and kisses, Stephen King.
Oh, you know what? I must not have been paying attention because I completely missed that. I also hated the guy who calls everyone Bubba. I don't care that he's Commissioner Gordon in Batman 89. This guy sucked and he was my least favorite part.
Odie, it's not nice to make fun of socially manipulative diner owners who are so narcissistic that they change everybody else's proper pronouns to their own. Also, considering how the crew of this film and King himself acknowledged King's heavy alcohol and drug use at the time, this may have just been a typo that King decided to leave in the script.
You know, I think that the real MVP of this movie is the kid who bikes like 5 miles across town, learns his dad is dead, and then is just fine moments later. Like, he's smiling on the boat at the end for no reason. Everything he knows is now dead. It's gone.
Not only is he a slightly sociopathic MVP who survives the Pixar's Carpocalypse, but his name is Deke. He survives the apocalypse while being named Deke.
I'm sorry, Kevin. I can't focus on his name being Deke because I'm still hung up on how a gun mounted on a car was able to fire itself when it doesn't have thumbs. It just doesn't make any sense.
Odie, cocaine, lots of booze, moron movie. They did it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Also, did all those trucks at the end commit truckicide by crashing into things and exploding to just cause damage?
You know, the Dixie Boy Diner destruction and demolition really does feel like a huge win for practical effects, but yeah, they do just seem to kind of stop giving a fuck about their own well-oiled being, huh?
What are your thoughts on the AC/DC soundtrack? Because I think it fits really well in a couple of spots, but mostly it feels out of place having rock music every other second despite the tone of the scene.
So, AC/DC was Stephen King's favorite band at the time, his words, and this album was actually written and made for this movie. But it's the insistent and persistent inclusion of their music in the scenes that should have otherwise had scary sounds in the background, or at least some sort of ominous music, that really hammers home the point that Stephen King was coked out of his mind for this.
And you know what, Kevin? Being coked out of his mind leads us into everybody's favorite segment of these videos, fun facts.
Goody!
This was Stephen King's only movie that he directed, and when he was asked why he never directed another one, his reply was, "Have you seen Maximum Overdrive?"
It has been brought up that Stephen King originally became disillusioned with the making of this film when his original casting for the role of Bill, the protagonist, was Bruce Springsteen, but it got replaced by Martin Sheen's son, Emilio Estevez.
You know, Kevin, it's funny you mention that because my next fun fact was that originally Stephen King wanted Bruce Springsteen to star in this movie.
The man from New Jersey, down in Wilmington, North Carolina, saving the world from the trucks he wrote songs about, maybe. It's the plight of the working class, Odie.
So this story of Maximum Overdrive actually is based off the short story Trucks, which was first published in King's 1978 collection titled Night Shift.
Yeah, wasn't the movie Cars also based off of that story?
And the band Cars was also based off that story.
The Cars?
The Cars! During the filming of this movie, cinematographer Armando Nanuzzo lost an eye while filming the lawnmower scene, and even though it affected his vision, he continued to direct movies for almost 10 years after this.
You know, we talked about Deke being the MVP, but I think the real MVP is the cinematographer who shows back up to set shortly after operation to finish filming with one eye and no depth perception.
And Kevin, to round this video out, we've already mentioned it multiple times in this video, but Stephen King was coked out of his mind while making this movie.
Out of his mind!
Out of his mind. And it's also funny that the reason he wanted to direct this is he said that if you want to make a Stephen King movie right, you gotta do it yourself. And then he made this movie. So here we are.
This brings me to my favorite and possibly the final fun fact about this. Stephen King originally was not going to be let on the lot for shooting this film because he had arrived on motorcycle after driving down from Maine while tailgating 18-wheelers to get a sense of, quote-unquote, how dangerous they really could be. That's a true story.
And with that, that's Maximum Overdrive.
That's it, baby!
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out Kevin and I's podcast, Unpop. Check out my latest video on Dracula Untold. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what movie you'd like to see me cover in the future.